You've got a big mission, a small team, and a role that's been open for weeks. Sound familiar? LinkedIn for Nonprofits gets it, and they are here to help. With up to 50% off hiring tools, you can find passionate people who believe in your cause. So whether it's a new program manager, a dedicated volunteer, or your next board member, LinkedIn helps you connect with the right people fast. So post jobs that reach mission-driven candidates, message them directly, and show what makes your nonprofit special with a career page on LinkedIn that tells your story. So if you're ready to build a team that's as committed as you are, head to LinkedIn for Nonprofits, click the link in the show notes, start hiring with heart and a discount. Visit nonprofit.linkedin.com/hire today, or visit the link in the show notes. This week, we are honoring Pride Month with a powerful conversation about storytelling, community, and the impact of showing up not just for a moment, but month after month. I am joined by Kate Anderson. She's the Community Philanthropy Manager of Sustainers at the Trevor Project, the leading suicide prevention and crisis intervention organization for LGBTQ young people. Kate leads the charge on deepening connections with their incredible community of recurring donors called the Luminaries, and brings a really fresh, human-first perspective to what it means to build relationships with these supporters that last. In this episode, we're going to dig into how the Trevor Project is celebrating Pride uniquely with this audience and really creating space for them year-round, from digital storytelling to a custom webinar this month to community engagement that really go beyond the initial ask. So if you've ever wondered how to really turn your monthly giving program into a movement of support, this episode is for you.
The Trevor Project's digital storytelling ethos is rooted in authenticity and urgency. Every post, video, and campaign exists to save lives and speak truth. Our voice is honest and real, never shying away from the raw realities LGBTQ+ youth face, while always grounding that truth in hope and community. Every story told is a bridge, connecting isolated young people to a support system that sees them, hears them, and fights for them in a digital world full of noise. We try to cut through with purpose to remind every queer and trans kid they're not alone.
Kate, happy Pride. Thank you
Pride.
so much for being here.
Yeah, I'm excited.
In the thick madness of everything that you have going on, I'm so honored that you are here. And I really wanted to start the month by honoring Pride Month. And there's no one better that I would like to do that with than you and the Trevor Project. As we kick off the month and celebrate LGBTQ+ voices and stories, how do you focus on doing that in your role, really working with sustainers, your recurring supporters, not just externally, which was stories that we see online and the blogs and on social, to more of the masses, but within your very special community of donors and sustainers?
Yeah, so this year, the Trevor Project's Pride campaign is Pride Belongs Here, which is a powerful reminder to LGBTQ young people that they are not alone and they deserve to feel proud of who they are, and that no matter where they live. So Pride Month gives us an incredible opportunity to celebrate with our donor community as well, not just by asking for their support, but by inviting them to take action and giving them tools that they can take back to their communities and share with, even if it's a LGBTQ young person that they want to just provide the information to or support or that. One of the things we do every year that we've actually now expanded to our luminaries is we do a Pride kickoff webinar. And this year we have an overwhelming number of luminaries that have joined. So we're really excited about that.
And Luminaries is the name of...
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yep. Luminaries is our recurring giving program. So those are our monthly supporters. Yeah. So we're inviting them to this webinar kickoff, which is going to highlight kind of our work. We just recently put out a 50-state report that allows donors, and it's open to everyone can view that, but just like kind of what's going on in those communities and what type of things that we're seeing. And So we're excited about that. We're sharing
Yeah.
some insight into our crisis services, which is not really necessarily a look that a lot of our donors have had an opportunity to see. So really bringing them on as partners, not just
Yes.
supporters. So how they can be a part of the change and giving them data that kind of backs up our work and what we're finding.
I love this.
The one thing that kind of sticks with me and that has stuck with me from the very beginning is that young people are 43% less likely to think of suicide if they have one supportive adult in their life, which is
Wow.
huge. So,
Yes. With the webinar, I wanted to talk about a couple different channels that you just mentioned.
mhm.
Is the webinar something that you've done every year on Pride Month, or is this new for luminaries?
We've done it for a couple of years.
Okay.
This year, it's new for luminaries. We've always usually done like our North Stars, which are our major donors, and then our mid level donors, and then usually some corporate and foundation partners as well.
Okay. When is this happening? Is this towards the beginning of the month?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I have a busy presentation week.
Yes, you do. Okay. How did you just promote joining the webinar through email? I'm just curious how you're like gathering
Just
people.
through email. Yeah.
Okay.
Our luminaries, we have a really good open rate for our luminaries. It's roughly in like the 40 to 50% range. Now there's some Apple pieces that
For
fall
sure.
into that as well, but they're just really engaged. And it's been something actually that, we'll probably touch on at some point later too, that I've been working on really trying to increase that open rate and bring our luminaries kind of back into a different fold.
Yes. Okay. What's the structure of the webinar? Like, what is it? 30 minutes? Is it an hour?
So it's an hour, and we have like the first half of it is really an open from our CEO. And then we've got the 50 state report. They're going to go into more detail about that, crisis services, our advocacy. And then we're opening it back up, and it's really an interactive webinar. So we're allowing folks to come on
Cool.
camera if they want and ask questions, and they can respond in the chat
Yeah.
however they feel most comfortable. So,
Okay. Is there a call to action at the end, or is it more just a gathering and thank you for being here and your support?
just a gathering and sharing our knowledge and our information with them, and not asking them to do anything other than here's the tools you
Here's
have.
the tools. Okay.
Right.
Very cool. Okay. And then other comms during this month. How is sustainer comm structured differently than maybe overall donor communication?
So for this month in general, we do include luminaries in some of our solicitations.
Okay.
We just did one over the weekend with an opening match that Pride has launched. Pride is here. Here's an opening match. And then we will pull them out of everything for the rest of the month, apart from things that are like engagement. Like we have a Pride partner email that's going out that the luminaries will get. They get a monthly newsletter that they'll get that one as well this month. But pretty much we try to keep the noise, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. The good noise.
The good noise. But we try to keep that to a minimum so that they're just, we want to honor and respect the fact that they are giving to us monthly by not inundating them with asks.
And I think something that you have been so profoundly good at and speak about is that recurring giving isn't just a revenue stream, that it's truly a relationship with the luminaries. And I know there's a lot of focus always on acquisition and growth. And at the same time, if not as important, is the retention and the genuine connection that happens can sometimes get less attention. Like I was really excited to grow a monthly giving program. It's like, uh-oh, we grew it. Now what do we do with these people? Hiring for a nonprofit isn't easy, especially when you're juggling a million other things. And that's where LinkedIn for Nonprofits comes in. It's built to help mission-driven teams like yours find great hires, connect with generous supporters, and share your story with a global audience. With free resources and exclusive discounts on LinkedIn's most powerful tools that help you find the right people, tools that connect you to donors ready to make a difference, and tools that give your mission more visibility in all the right places. Start tapping into LinkedIn's power for your organization today. Visit nonprofit.linkedin.com to see what's possible or click the link in the show notes. Now let's get back to the show. What are some of those really thoughtful, intentional ways, like especially this month, I'm hoping, right, there's going to be a big surge of new luminary support. What happens after? Like, what does somebody look forward to in their journey with you as a recurring supporter?
So a little bit of backstory is prior to me coming to Trevor, we didn't have anybody in this role that was dedicated. We had recurring donors, we had folks in that, but they were just getting everything, every solicitation, every email.
So common to hear this.
And I have always been a monthly donor to orgs that I support and feel passionate about. And so when I came on board, I was like, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel like we're treating them like a revenue stream. We're not treating them like true, like these folks have month after month raised their hand and been like,
right,
I want to support you monthly. So this is what it means for me to equate that journey for them, is to really be very intentional about the communications that we're sending them. I took them for 1 year completely out of all solicitations, and we saw the retention rate increase. We were in the low 80s and we're now up at 88% right now.
Amazing.
And less people unsubscribing and less folks, saying you're spamming me, you're this, that, or the other. And so really just being intentional about that experience. And so now what we're doing, and we have a lot of piecemeal systems that we're trying to kind of do this with, and also caveat, I'm a one-person shop. So
yeah, which I think people will be so surprised. I think there's this perception with a lot of organizations that have an incredible brand presence like the Trevor Project that there's there's like 10 people on this team. And you're like, me.
Yeah, it's me. It is me. I came from a large org before I was at Trevor, and same thing. We had a large group of people that helped, but I predominantly did all of the monthly giving work by myself, but a gift processing team that's kind of supported me a little bit more. But yeah, it's just, they come in and they're just going to have that moment of feeling appreciated. They're going to get Pride specific language because they came in during Pride. But then at some point we transition them into just like our overall communication. So they will get their initial welcome, which is very personal. It's from me. I am your personal contact here. So
yes,
really give folks someone like a name, like, I can email Kate and find out what's going on with this, or I have a question, or I have an issue, or anything like that. And so really trying to make our monthly donors feel like they have a personal connection and contact that they can reach out with any questions. And so that's the initial email. And then they fall into, they get a message from the CEO, they get a message from a partner, which some of these we have on hold as we're trying to fix some automation and stuff like that. So there's
always works. I love the personalization. I actually have a text message that I got recently from an organization where some were just like message, and then like a third one that was sent actually had a person's name. And it just feels so much more like, oh, this was sent by Joe or whoever. And there's a personal connection to that. And I think that's really important. What is something, I mean, it could be innovative or not, or just something that's like really worked that could be surprising that you've tried with the Sustainers program that you think other nonprofits, the listeners, could learn from, maybe be inspired by? And it could be something, again, that's worked or has not.
So my previous org, one of the challenges I had with monthly giving is we had like 80 million different funds. And so how do you support monthly giving with all of those variety of funds? And so I was super excited to come, singular fund, singular focus. And so I had this whole thing in my head of like, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to launch. And I had a acquisition campaign that I had done my first year in March, and we called it March into Pride. So I was all excited about I'm like, oh, we've got the great catch tagline.
Yeah.
Nothing. We did get some, so I shouldn't say nothing, but it was not the outcome we were hoping for, or that I was hoping for. So that really turned the light on to be like, we need to really look at this, and why is no one responding in this way? And so really just dove into the data. I saw how the majority of them were coming in. And then to start the fiscal year, for the next fiscal year, all I did on our main giving page was change the tagline, because I think we had something on there that said, make a larger impact or make a bigger impact or something like that. And I created this little thing that just says monthly giving powers our work. And from that, we went from like 45, 50 monthly donors a month to we jumped up over 100. And then it just started ticking up the more we were getting that traction. I like to think it was just that little thing that did it.
I mean, yes, that is very crucial. Well, it gets your eyeball drawn to a different area on the page and on the form. Did anything massively change in the email or social language that was pushing people to that page?
Not really. Like the main thing is we tried not to overthink it. And I think that is something that we as fundraisers get so stuck in our heads that we cannot pull ourselves out to be like, oh, wait, let's take a step back and like really see how folks are responding and meet them where they are coming to us.
Yes.
We didn't put any really strong language in our social media about recurring. We talk about it when we're sending out impact pieces. We make sure to include like, and this is how many recurring donors, and this is what recurring donor, it powers our work. It powers our work. And so just having that continual mantra in what we're putting out there is that if it may not push the person that time, but it may make them think twice when they come back the next time for another gift.
Yes. Are you seeing more recurring first donors than one time converting to recurring right now?
I would say yes, right now. The caveat, though, is that without getting political, with everything that's going on right now, we're getting a lot of organic traffic out there. Trevor's in the news. We're being promoted out there. And so I would say converting, we are definitely getting them more in the first time than we are with conversion. And this year is probably a little bit different than last year. Last year, conversion was not great. This year, conversion's a lot better just because I think people recognize this is a need. This is something that we need to make sure we're supporting. And so we are getting some, but we are still leading in first-time acquisition.
Okay. And I think this is a really interesting point to go further into kind of the mindset shift around focusing on recurring. A lot of times, and listeners, I don't know if you feel super seen in this moment, recurring is it's a PS. It's a quiet, like, maybe would you consider giving in this way? Like, I don't know, there's a lot of fear about asking for a recurring first gift, which I think is so interesting for how retention rates play out. I mean, this is solely your role, right? And you see, obviously, the intense need and how powerful luminaries are in the work that you do. What's a practical step or mindset shift that you might give to a nonprofit leader that wants to focus more on recurring giving, but hasn't quite stepped over to make it happen?
Not sure if I can come up with one mind shift. There's kind of a group of them. There's more of a mindset and then like practical steps. With the mindset shift, I think the biggest one for me is to stop thinking of recurring giving as a revenue stream and start thinking of them as a community. And when you view them as a community, they're your partners, they're your advocates, they're your folks that are going to go out there and be like, I support the Trevor Project monthly because of this. And this is what I see. And I get to know exactly what my dollars are doing. And I'm finding out more about the organization. I'm feeling more connected. I think the other piece is from the practical standpoint, is I think when people come into monthly giving or start to think about monthly giving, they start to think about all of the things. Like you don't have to start off with all of the things. Start off in one area, whether it's your welcome message or what's happening to them after they've made that monthly gift.
What even that like website change?
Yeah.
Was that a difficult thing to have change, or was team be like, yeah, great idea, let's do it?
I just submitted the request and had the graphic done, and then I popped the thing in there. So.
Amazing.
So I didn't have a lot of red tape.
Yeah. I can imagine that's a fight with a lot of organizations to be able to have that.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess basically pick like one meaningful touch point and start there. Like, how are you going to show up differently for this group of folks than you would? And think of their journey, think of their experience.
So good. If you are still dreaming about building your monthly giving program or refreshing one that you have because it feels static and you're not getting a lot of attraction for new recurring supporters, applications are open for my summer monthly giving mastermind. It starts in July. You can go to positiveequation.com/mastermind. And there are 4 spots open. It is a done with you experience. You'll walk away with your program name, a completely built out for you landing page with copy, a launch strategy, emails, ads, a video, expert guidance all along the way, a creative team, and 4 amazing peers building right alongside you. We do this together. You can learn more, get all of the details, what we go through each month. It's my 5-step framework done essentially for you. Go to positiveequation.com/mastermind to join the summer group that starts in July. Now, I would say you have a great opportunity because the Trevor Project, to me, is one of the most recognizable, powerful voices in this space, has an incredible social media presence that's been built out in the nonprofit space.
Yeah.
It's not just a brand, it's a massive, incredible movement of supporters. Now, for organizations that might be small, medium, large, any stage of this growth that want to build something that's as recognizable, I think something that is said a lot is, I'm the best kept secret in blank, right?
Mm-hmm.
What lessons do you think that they can take from the Trevor Project's approach to digital storytelling, this community building that you're talking about, and overall, truly just visibility?
Yeah. I actually reached out to our organic social media guru, Leah Juliet, and I felt like their perspective in this is too important not to quote directly. So they said the Trevor Project's digital storytelling ethos is rooted in authenticity and urgency. Every post, video, and campaign exists to save lives and speak truth. Our voice is honest and real, never shying away from the raw realities LGBTQ plus youth face, while always grounding that truth in hope and community. Every story told is a bridge, connecting isolated young people to a support system that sees them, hears them, and fights for them in a digital world full of noise. We try to cut through with purpose to remind every queer and trans kid they're not alone. And I just think that beautifully sums up what makes Trevor's digital presence feel less like a brand and more like a movement. And what I'd add is that from my perspective is that our storytelling works because it's mission aligned and community driven. We don't just post to post.
Right.
We post to connect, to affirm, to activate. So for other organizations looking to build something resonant, I'd say start by defining your truth and your tone, and then be clear about what you stand for, and then speak directly to people who need to hear it most. And then listen, because social isn't just a broadcast channel, it is an actual conversation. So just kind of listening to that and starting small again, and then building from that.
So good. I would invite everyone to go follow their social accounts. They really, truly do a phenomenal job. This month in specific, where are there certain things going on that you would want to make sure to share with people that they should go check out? What's the best places to find you and to find out more about the Trevor Project?
To find out more about Trevor Project, you can just go to trevorproject.org. You can also do our Pride page, which is trevorproject.org/pride. And connect with me on LinkedIn. And I think that's going to be in the show notes. But
yes, definitely.
I am always learning from others and willing to share what information I have. And so from that perspective, I can help answer or partner or however we want to do that. So
amazing. And I have one final question for you, because I think it's still newer to think of having a sustainer role. When did you start focusing like your career specifically and working specifically within a recurring community?
I made the switch to recurring about 8 years ago, roughly. In 2016, I was actually hired at Ohio State to manage their monthly giving program specifically. So I worked in that space and grew the program. And then when this opportunity came up with Trevor Project, it was the perfect marriage of my experience and my skills. And I have deep personal passion for Trevor Project. And so it just was
amazing.
Perfect fit.
Amazing. So I also think this is going to be a role that we are going to see substantially increase on platforms like LinkedIn as job opportunities. So connect with Kate, hear about the expertise of what it is running the show. Two experiences that are really phenomenal in this. Is there something that you would like to ask for help or support on from listeners?
We are always testing, which I think is another key thing. Test. So if anybody has anything that they've tested that has worked well or not, feel free to share with me because I'm always looking to learn more.
Amazing. Thank you, Kate, so much for being here and everything you have going on. Have a wonderful webinar tomorrow with your luminaries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of Missions to Movements. If you enjoyed our conversation and found it helpful, I would love for you to take a moment to leave a review wherever you're listening. Your feedback helps us reach more change makers like you and continue bringing impactful stories and strategies to the show. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button too, so you'll never miss an episode. And until next time, keep turning your mission into a movement.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope it was helpful and valuable to you. And I wanted to let you know my signature program, the Monthly Giving Mastermind, applications are open for the 6th round that will start in July. If you are someone that wants to increase your monthly recurring donations, but just have not had the time, the bandwidth, the people around you to do it, this is the opportunity. You can head to positiveequation.com/mastermind to learn all the details. I have a video that breaks it down. I showcase what we're going over every month. It essentially takes the 5-step framework that I teach in my book and puts it into practice that we do for you. So head to positiveequation.com/mastermind to learn more and apply.